What is programming? I'm not referring to the programming where you broadcast stuff for television. I'm talking about computer programming. Simply put, computer programming is the act of making a computer perform specific tasks. Now, this can be done in a variety of ways. So there's obviously a normal traditional kind of programming, which is done with normal languages such as Python, C, Java, JavaScript, and so on. But there are also other languages, and even downright to the basics of what computers operate on, known as binary. So machines operate on a series of zeros and ones, and that makes everything you see in any electronic device ever. With zeros and ones, it's that simple. So you may be thinking, does everything electronic involve programming? Yes, programming is involved in everyone's daily lives, or at least yours if you're watching this video, because clearly you have access to the internet and you're watching this video. What you're watching this video on involves programming. The Wi-Fi you're using to watch this video on, or even the data you're watching this video on, the camera I'm recording this with, the computer I'm uploading this with, what I'm using to post it on Instagram and Twitter, everything around us have programming. So you might be wondering, how do I get involved with programming? Well, the first and best way is to watch my Python programming tutorial, link in the description below and in the top right over there. So you watch that video and you can get started with Python programming. I've got about 25-30 episodes on Python programming, so you can watch those just to get the basics and a feel for how Python programming is. It's definitely the best language to learn for a beginner alongside JavaScript, and there are also many practical applications. So going on to the applications, what can you use Python or any other language for? So languages are used for different scenarios. There's no one language fits all, although the closest to that is Python. But for example, you want to make a self-driving car and you want the software for it to drive by itself. You would have to use languages such as Python, C, and C++. C and C++ are for embedded systems, which you would use in the vehicle, and Python is used for the data analysis, machine learning kind of thing. Now, if this is sounding a bit extreme, don't worry, because I'm also going to give some simple examples. So let's say your computer. What would that be programmed in? Well, first of all, for the operating system, it will use quite a few different things. So it use C and C++, and those are the main things it would use for the operating system. And there are obviously other languages you can build an operating system in, but those are the basics. And programming has a very, very large range of applications. So you've got things like fridges, stoves if it's electric, your car, your phone, camera, pretty much anything electronic you can think of. Nothing you'll see that's electronic hasn't been affected by programming in whatever form. So as you can tell, since there's so many devices, there must be multiple programming languages to deal with them. Well, you're right. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of different programming languages. So there are languages such as Python, JavaScript, C, C++, Fortran, all these crazy languages that are used for different scenarios. So you may be thinking, so how do I know which programming language is the right one to learn? Well, it all depends on what you want to do. So let's say you want to say something like, I want to develop games when I'm older. And then you have to go further into that. What do you want to develop games for? You want to develop games for iPhones, or Android phones, or Xbox, or PlayStation, and depending on that, that chooses what language you should learn. So for example, when I was learning how to make my game for the iPhone on the App Store, I had to learn Swift. So Swift is what is used to build iPhone apps, and that's now the standard for iPhone apps. If you want to learn how to make Android apps, you learn Java. That's just how it is. If you want to learn how to use Xbox apps, I think you use Microsoft Visual Basic. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, you have to learn different languages for different things. So as I said earlier, there's no one language fits all. Now the reason for that is different tasks for programming are so vast that if there was one language used to do everything, it would be so large and cumbersome and hard to use just because of how much stuff would have to be included in it. So that's why it's very practical not to have done that, and maybe someone will just for the fun of it, but I doubt anyone would use it. So that's why there's so many different languages, some old, some new, some of the old guard, C, C++, Fortran, Basic. Those are the four like real main ones. C and C++ is still used right now, though it was invented in the 60s. Python in the 1990s, so it's a little bit neither old nor young, middle-aged. and that's actually top programming language in the world right now, and it's been increasing heavily due to areas like machine learning and data analysis. So I hope that's your question answered. Programming in a nutshell is just making a computer do specific tasks that you want it to do. That's all it is. It seems simple on the face of it, but it's quite a bit complicated, as you'll find out if you want to get started with it. So I've got a few links down below for resources alongside my playlist for Python. There are a few other websites that I use or used when I was learning programming. I've also got a link to Instagram and Twitter down below, where I post daily about some programming tips and tricks and stuff about tech in there too. So if you like this video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you in the next one.